Next week is the 4th of July, not only a very important holiday in the United States, but also the day of the Blue Marlin World Cup, the only international Blue Marlin tournament of its kind where for one day only, the biggest fish weighed in any of the oceans around the world takes the win. Today, I'm sitting down with Robert "Fly" Navarro, the tournament director of the Blue Marlin World Cup, as we discuss the ins and outs of this tournament, what makes it so unique, his career, and the various endeavors and experiences that make Fly who he is. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome to the Katie C. Sawyer podcast. I'm your host, Katie, and today I'm sitting with the man behind much of the sport fishing media and what we know, Robert "Fly" Navarro. Fly, thank you so much for being here today.
100% my pleasure, and thank you so much for your patience while we had all our technical difficulties.
Man, you know, it is what it is. We're here, the content's being produced, and that's all that really matters. Because
that's all that matters.
I really like now touch on this because you have a slogan that you live by, and that's why we're both here today. What is it?
I got a lot of slogans. Which one? There's a lot of slogans I live by.
Yeah.
I only get one ticket for this ride, so I make sure I'm having the best fucking time of my life.
There you go. Well, my personal favorite, if we're going to go that far, is the one where if you can expose one person to fishing every single day, then you're living your life right.
Oh, that's my business slogan. I wake up every day and my goal is to introduce fishing to one new person every single day. So that is my goal.
I absolutely love that, and I find it extremely admirable. But before we get into a lot of different things that I'm excited to be talking to you about coming into this big tournament season, tell us a little bit about your background. First, where are you tuning in from today? Where did you grow up? You have two parents that are Cuban, and I want to hear about childhood Fly.
Okay, so there's certain things about childhood Fly that I'll share, and there's certain things I won't. But yes, and this is something I repeat over and over and over. I am the son of two immigrants from a communist country. And it's one of the reasons why I am such a big fan of America. I do a lot of work with our military. I'm on the board of directors for a nonprofit that gets active and retired veterans out fishing and hunting. So I am a huge pro-America guy. And anybody that's spent time with me understands that. But it comes from my parents and my grandparents because of the fact that I heard how bad communism and socialism is. And unfortunately, I also got a chance to see what socialism does because I was in Venezuela when Hugo Chavez got voted in, and I saw a wonderful country literally get destroyed in less than 20 years. So yeah, I'm a big America First kind of guy, a big freedom of speech kind of guy. A lot of people have died for our freedom, so I do a lot of stuff to make sure they know how much I appreciate what they've done. And they being both men and women, because we got a lot of ladies out on the front line.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Making sure we can sleep at night.
Mm-hmm. So where did you grow up?
I grew up right here where I'm at right now. I grew up in Palm Beach County. I still live in Palm Beach County. I fall under, it's a weird thing. If you look at statistics, they say something like 60% of Americans still live within 10 miles of where they grew up. And that's me. My high school is less than 10 miles away. My first job is less than 10 miles away from where I live. But I spend like 250 days on the road. I travel all over the world. I average about 200,000 miles a year on frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, you've got all the perks.
No, I definitely do. It's pretty bad when I go into the airport and they all know me. My girlfriend thinks it's the funniest thing. I've traveled with some of her friends. We all go and, Mr. Navarro, how are you? What's going on? She's like, really? I'm like, yeah. And now it's gotten to the point. I was just flying back from Doha in Qatar.
That's a cool airport.
And it's a phenomenal.
I've never seen anything like it. There's playgrounds everywhere, little like museums.
So great.
The
Any of those airports in the Middle East are phenomenal. But I got on my plane, as I'm sitting on my seat, the flight attendant walked up to me. She goes, "You were on my flight a few weeks ago, weren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know exactly who you are." So
Good.
that's how much I'm on the planes, that I know the flight attendants. That's why I try to be so nice to them.
Yeah.
Because if you're not, they'll remember you on the ride back. Or so actually, I just try to be nice to everybody. I want people to treat me nice, so I treat them nice.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. And that's part of being a part of this community is scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Everyone's out there. We're all fishing. We're all looking for a good time. And especially in the sport fishing space, in the recreational angler space, like everyone's got a boat owner. Everyone's working hard to make sure that they do a good job, and sharing information out there is so pivotal. How do you feel about that? Did you grow up? Wait, hold up. You're distracting me. Did you grow up fishing the Caribbean?
So I didn't start fishing the Caribbean until I took this rode down a profession. I was in college. I was 18 years old. I was making a whopping $4 an hour. And a friend of mine, his dad was a boat captain. And he's like, "What are you doing this summer?" And I said, "Well, I got to work. I got to make some money to pay for college. And when I'm not working, I'm going to go fishing." That's what I did every summer. And he's like, "Well, I want you to go with me to Mexico." And I'm like, "Okay." I go, "But I don't know anything about working on big boats." He goes, I'll teach you, but I need somebody that's bilingual. And English is my second language. So once I went down to Mexico and people figured out that I spoke 2 languages, I was gone.
Yeah.
Literally, I was gone. They grabbed me, and I ended up going through the canal for the first time, going fishing Panama and Piñas Bay, went up to Costa Rica.
Oh my gosh, chills. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So, and then shortly thereafter, I moved to Venezuela and started fishing out of there I lived in Venezuela for 4 years. And it was great. I absolutely loved it, and spent 20 years of my career fishing out of Central South America, St. Thomas. I know you told me to stop before because we were starting to talk about St. Thomas.
No.
And
now's the time. Fly.
And then I got an opportunity to run a boat out in Hawaii. So I flew out to Hawaii and I ran a boat for 2 years. And after that, I came home and I went into business for myself.
Question. I have a handful of questions. The first one is, did you ever finish your university degree?
I got a 2-year degree to be a teacher. What I really wanted to be was a high school guidance counselor. I have this thing, and most people know I don't have children, but I have a thing that I want to open doors for as many people as possible, especially our youth. And I know a few years ago I started a program, and we're looking to relaunch it, called Kids in the Fly Zone, where we give kids the opportunity to learn how to fish, learn how to go hunting, meet other people that like to do it. Because sometimes your parents don't enjoy it. Maybe your parents don't like to fish and hunt,
or just aren't exposed in that scene. There's plenty of people.
Yeah, they just didn't grow up in it, and you were interested in it. I was very lucky. On my father's side, everybody was really big into fishing. I had one cousin that was into hunting, and there's so many opportunities nowadays that, especially with social media, there's a lot of young kids that can meet other young kids that like to do it. So you can grow your social circle very quickly now with social media. So I just like to open doors for people.
Yeah.
And I know you and I had a conversation about that earlier this morning, about opening doors for other people. I'm a very big believer in the Bible says when you get up to a certain level, it's our duty to reach back and help the next person up. And that's something I 100% wholeheartedly believe in.
Yeah, those are beautiful words to live by. A good reminder every single day. I love that. And I think it's super cool really that you had this passion as a young man to help guide younger generations. And you're doing that now, but on a global scale. Like, that's incredible. So
100% global.
So you did finish your degree, and then you went and worked in the sport fishing space. How many years from starting? I guess, did you go to the Yucatan? Was that where you went on your first Mexico trip?
Yeah, I went to Cancun, and for the people that are old enough to remember, I went to Hacienda del Mar.
Yeah. Not me. I'm not old enough to remember, but I have heard of it. I was thinking about my friend Bobby.
Yeah, that was back in the day whenever you tried to get a hold of a deckhand, you would call Jim at Hacienda del Mar and say, "Hey, I'm looking for fly." And then when you come in from fishing, he'd walk down to the boat. "Hey, Katie was trying to get a hold of
That's
you.
so cool. Man,
here's
those
the phone
days.
number."
Totally different.
Yeah.
And then, so how much time from
different.
then to when you were running a boat in Hawaii?
Oh my gosh, that was a solid. I would say easy 20, if not 23
Yeah,
years.
that's
Easy
awesome.
20.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
It's so cool that you fished that Venezuela scene full time for 4 years. That's just awesome.
I was, it's funny because I just got invited to go back down there. Literally a couple of weeks ago, somebody called me up and says, "Hey, there's a tournament coming up. We really like you to come down." And again, because of the fact that I speak both languages, I made a lot of good friends down there. And I'm trying to decide if I want to go or not. It's still, there's a lot of political unrest, and I don't even know if I can get a visa. So I really would like to go back down and see what it looks like and take a bunch of pictures and share with everybody, what's going on down there.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a lot of stories to share still. So, yeah, I'd like to do it. We just got to figure out the time and the safety factor.
Yeah, for sure. Of course.
Yeah. But I learned a lot. That there's something to be said, and there's a lot of great young mates nowadays in Venezuela. I'm sorry, in Costa Rica and Panama and Guatemala. There's nothing that can replace repetitive numbers. We were getting 40 to 50 bites a day.
Build it.
On billfish. You can't replace that.
No. There's no better way to learn. The experience you get, because every fish is different, every situation's different, and then the dynamic you build with your team, when you have that much consistency, you just can't, like you said, you can't replace it.
Yeah, you can't replace it. And even though every fish is different, every fish is the same. There's certain things about it that a lot of things are the same. Everything's different, but a lot of times when you only get one bite a day, everybody's like, "Oh my God, don't mess up, don't mess up, don't mess up." But when you're getting 50 bites a day,
Who cares?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
I'm going to mess up. I'm going to try something. Like I remember my last couple of years living in Venezuela in 99 and 2000, we started playing with circle hooks. And my captain at the time, great guy, Captain Billy Bohr, he loved the fact, he loved and he let me work with innovating stuff. And we were trying to learn the whole new circle hook thing because Ronnie Hamlin was doing it in Guatemala and he was very successful at it. And we were just trying to find out new ways to make it faster and better and easier. And I was allowed one flat line with the circle hook. So it was cool. We had a lot of fun with it.
That's awesome.
We had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. But I mean, like, getting to see, because I find fish behavior varies. And it varies from day to day, but it also varies from fish to fish. And there's things you can see when you see a fish show up on the teaser and it's behaving a certain way. Like, you can start differentiating between the mood of that fish when you see it enough times and how you want to pitch that bait out, how you want to present that bait to the fish.
Well, it's funny you say, because yes, there's a little bit of I like the word mood, but the mood is always dependent on other surrounding factors. So fish are very reactive. So I remember when I went out to Hawaii, I went out there specifically, my boss wanted to pitch bait. And everybody out there at that time was just dragging lures. And they're like, well, the fish out here are different. And I'm like, okay, let's go out here and let's see what different really is. And it wasn't that the fish were different, as people were fishing for them different. So they would react the way you want them to react. And one thing, we're going to go back to St. Thomas. When you're starting to get so many bites, you're getting 200-300 bites in a season. Fish, I'm going to use air quotes for anybody that's not watching this video. Their mood. I like that. It's mood. I'm going to tell my girlfriend about that because she's going to love you for that, because she's like, "Oh no, every animal has their own personality." I'm like, "No, a fish is a fish."
Nah.
But you have what you're saying carries a lot of weight. So we started noticing, like, especially early on in the moon when there wasn't a lot of fish on the drop, you get a lot of long rigger bites, a lot of center rigger bites. And then as it started getting more and more crowded and there was more competition,
get more
we started getting
aggressivity.
more and more aggressive bridge teaser bites. So, so the fish would get more aggressive. And as they start getting more aggressive, you're able to do more things with them.
Exactly. And on that note, if it is like there's less aggressiveness, if you're seeing them more on the longs, but you do have a fish that shows up on the teaser, you need to, if I'm on that offside long, I'm going to be like, I'm going to be extra ready. And maybe if we don't see it for a second, I'm going to give it a little prospect. Sure enough, almost every time.
You know, it's funny you say that. So when I was on the reel tight, we were very competitive. We had 3 deckhands at the time, and we were very uber competitive. So our number one thing is, if he wasn't on the bridge teaser, we want to get to the cockpit teaser first. And if I didn't get to the cockpit teaser in time, or if it was a bridge teaser bite, I literally would run to the opposite side, and I'd wait. And if that fish disappeared, all I would do is I'd start pulling on that cockpit teaser. And sure enough, he would always show up on that cockpit teaser because it was just doing something different.
Yeah.
So I get a chance to double dip on it and
Yeah.
get the opportunity to get him to come back up on me. And it the way I equate it a lot to baseball, for anybody that's played baseball, it's knowing where your cutoff man is and situating yourself for, okay, if this fish disappears, where is he most likely to show up? So this goes back to what I was saying. All fish, even though they're different, all fish are the same, because if you don't get them on that initial bite, you know where they're going to show up.
Yeah.
And that outside, like you said, that outside long rigger, the reason why they're going to show up there is with the boat in the turn. That's going to be your fastest bait, and they're always going to show up on that one.
Sure enough.
And I want every opportunity to get the bite.
It's amazing how many people don't expect the offside bite. I'm like, I'm over here like, I'm just going to smooth this one out. I love it.
As soon as I got my cockpit teaser in, I'd run to the opposite side. Number one, my job is done. Now it's the angler's job.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to position myself. You don't know how many times I've been able to double tease a fish. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
And then if it's my turn on the wire, that's triple dipping, man. I get to tease him in twice, and I get to wire the fish. Yeah, it's triple dipping.
That's awesome. That is so good. So how long were you running a boat in Hawaii for?
For 2 years.
Awesome. What did you do
I ran
from
a boat
there?
in Hawaii for 2. What did I do from there? That's a great question. So once the job went away, I was 41 years old, and lucky for me, I'm not married. I don't have children. I don't have a very big overhead. So I'm like, man, I could get a job on a boat, not a problem. But is that really what I want to do? I'm 41 years old. What am I going to do? And so I said, you know what? I'm going to freelance until I figure out what I want. And I needed to freelance 3 days a month to pay my bills. So I had a lot of leeway. So I started freelancing, and at that time, we were just in the infancy, like within the first 5 years of Facebook and within the first 2 years of Instagram. So I'm like, I'm just going to document what I'm doing on social media. So I started posting pictures and posting pictures and posting pictures. And then people start calling me up. They're like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm freelancing. Oh, I need somebody next week for 10 days. Okay. What are you doing? Oh, I'm freelance. I need somebody for a month over here. So before you know it, I booked myself out to like 300 days a year. And I was making great money. But in my early 40s, I'm like, man, can I keep up with 300 days a year?
That's a lot of days.
And I wanted to, I also knew that I couldn't capture enough pictures. Or I couldn't capture enough content. So I needed to figure out a way to get more content. How can I get
to clarify,
more content?
you couldn't capture enough content while working on a boat.
Fishing.
Exactly.
Well, I could. I could. So I have it's around here somewhere. I have a Pelican case. I have 2 DSLR cameras, and I have 8 GoPros.
Yeah.
So I was able to capture a lot of I got invited once to go fishing in London, Ontario, and to go trout fishing and salmon fishing. The guy's like, "Hey, bring your team with you." And I showed up with my box, and he's like, "Where's your team?" I go, "This is my team." And he's like, "You mean everything I see? Everything I see is this just you doing it?" I go, "Yeah," but I needed more, and I needed some more variety, and especially at that point, videos were just starting to spin up, and because of my passion for educating people in the sport, I started creating how-to videos. My first ones were with Tyler Beckford. We started rigging baits.
Awesome.
And I started pushing those through social media. And I'm like, I still need more. I hate to say it, content is like a drug.
Yeah.
You need more,
need more
constantly.
for sure.
So I'm like, how do I get other people? So I started offering people, hey, listen, I'll help promote your charter boat, whatever. Send me pictures. But listen, after a while, people, they're busy. They're doing their thing. They can't give me any pictures. I'm like, how do I get people to get me more content? I'm like, ooh, we'll put on a tournament. That way I can hire camera people to take pictures for me, and then I can get people to take videos of the fish that they catch. So I started putting on tournaments to get more content.
Then I needed to interesting. What was your first tournament?
My first tournament was the Gulf Cup in the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay,
that's my very first
one. What year was that?
Was
it 1984?
2000. No. It was 2013. The best part about it is I have the original poster in my hallway here, because I literally drove from every way station from Key West all the way to Port Aransas.
Hey, hometown. That's where I am right now.
PA is where you're from?
Yeah.
Okay. That's where the original World Gulf Cup winner came out of. It was the Mojo, with Captain Brad Phillips. And I got, I don't know, I have probably about 500 signatures on that thing, and I have it in my hallway.
That's so cool.
And it was one of the greatest times. I just drove around, introducing myself to people and telling them about this tournament. And on the same day, 4th of July, and I, in my heart, felt that the Gulf of Mexico can compete on the world stage if there was enough people fishing in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yes.
But before I took over the World Cup, they would get maybe 1, 2 was a great year in the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
And when you have Hawaii with 50 and Bermuda with 50, it's hard to compete with only 2 hooks in the water.
Yeah. Hold on.
50 boats.
I don't want to get ahead of us, because this is really good information, but I want to make sure that the listener really understands, if they're not familiar with the cups, what we're talking about. So let's go to the World Cup on the 4th of July of every year. Now, the World Cup's been going on since the 80s, right?
1985.
Yeah. Okay, so give us a little rundown about the World Cup.
Okay, so the Blue Marlin World Cup is... Jim Hardy was the original tournament director, and he started it. It still belongs to his family. Jim Hardy and Tex Schramm, who was the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, they were fishing off of Woods Wall down off of Key West. And between the two of them, they said, you know, what would be really cool if we had a Super Bowl of blue marlin fishing, a world championship where everybody in the world competes against each other. And they're like, okay, when do we do it? Well, what other better day than the birthday of the good old US of A?
There we go.
So they started the Blue Marlin. Jim Hardy started the Blue Marlin World Cup back in 1985, and he was the tournament director. And back then it wasn't even fax machines. It was phone numbers and old-fashioned snail mail. I heard stories from his grandchildren, because I get to see him every year, and his great-grandchildren. But from his grandchildren, they tell me stories of sometimes it would take their grandfather a week to figure out who caught the biggest fish, because people had to call in, they had to send in a photo, and it was a big to-do. We didn't have what we have today.
I can't imagine already waiting that we were in 2021 when that Cape Verde fish was weighed, and then there's still so much time before Hawaii's done fishing. That amount of time is kind of super high anxiety, and I wasn't even the boat that weighed the fish. So
but that's the greatest part about it.
It's so beautiful.
Literally, and that's one of the things I love so much. And Jim Hardy's daughter that I get to talk to all the time, one of the thing I tell her every year, I said, number one, thank you so much for trusting me with your family heirloom. Because she does. She, her and her family trust me with representing her family, representing her father, and getting the opportunity to talk about what he's done to put all these people together. And the other thing that I love so much about it is for about 2.5 to 3 months every year, I get to talk to every blue marlin fisherman in the world.
Literally every single one.
Almost every single one. I have made some of the most awesome friends that I would have never. A couple weeks ago, I went out fishing right here out of Palm Beach with our winner from 2 years ago, Sergi. He caught that 950 or 960 something. He came into Palm Beach to go fishing and speaks no English. He's Russian, but I got to hang out with him for the day. Past Blue Marlin World Cup winner, and we got to hang out, and I asked him, please, good luck, fish again.
Yeah.
I hope you do it again. But he was pretty neat because there was a couple. So let's rewind a little bit, talking about the World Cup.
Yeah.
So when I took it over, one of the things I was very, very fortunate. I'm only the third tournament director in the history of the tournament.
That's pretty
but I was
incredible
able to
when it's been going on for, what is it, like 40... 45, 49 years?
40, yeah, we're going on 30. This is year 39 or year 40.
Gosh, my math is
There's only been 3 tournament directors. I'm the third one. But I had, even though for my age, I was still dealing with all this social media. So I was able to plug it in to my social media business and connect with everybody. And that first year, it was the Blue Macaira that won the tournament with a 987 out of Madeira. And I got the phone call. They put it in the boat. I knew the mate on it, Antigua Sean. Me and Antigua Sean grew up together on the docks of St. Thomas.
How
He was
cool.
tied up right behind me on the Marlin Prince. And we were sitting there, and Black Bart, big shout out to Jack Tullius at Black Bart's. He's been our sponsor for a long time, well before I was the tournament director. And Mike Leach, who was the previous tournament director, and he was the president of the IGFA. We were all sitting there, and he's like, man, I really wish we knew what lure they caught it on, because if it was a Black Bart, we can give him a shout out. So very quietly, I grab my phone, and I text Sean on Facebook Messenger. I'm like, hey, what'd you catch it on? And within 3 minutes, I had a picture of the Polokai that he got it on. I said, this is what they caught it on. And they're like, how'd you do that? And I'm like, well, I just sent them a text.
Got my fingers in a lot of pots.
Yeah. And I think it was year number 2 where the family's like, man, I've never heard the phone so quiet, because they have all these phones set up for people to call in. I'm like, what do you mean quiet? I go, the bite's off, and it's going off in Madeira. There's a lot of great fish in Cape Verde, and right now there's been about 35 releases in Bermuda. And it's like, well, we haven't heard the phone ring. How do you know? I go, because it's all coming in on my phone right here. It's all there. Everybody's texting and WhatsApping. So when Sergi won the tournament, I just tell anybody, let me know you're hooked up.
Yeah.
I don't require them to call me, because I know what it's like when you're trying to deal with a boat, weather, trying to shoot me a text, shoot me a WhatsApp, shoot me whatever. Well, Captain Olaf Gremmel, he sent me a message he sent me a DM on Instagram. Hey, the My Victoria's hooked up. And they had 16 minutes before lines out.
Oh my gosh.
And I go, got you covered. And, but he sent it to me on Instagram. And I keep 2 phones on. I travel with 2 phones normally. But for the World Cup, I have my laptop and 2 cell phones.
Yeah, that's got to be
all day long.
And that's a long day. So how many, tell the listener, how many countries are fishing? How is the structure of the tournament? Break down the logistics of it.
So you fish from 8:30 to 4:30 in your time zone. And every year is different. Last year, we had 152 boats in 9 countries. The year before, we had 158 in 12 countries. The majority of it starts when Madeira starts, the majority. But a lot of years we get boats. If the weather's right, we get boats out of Australia. We get a lot of boats out of Fiji, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea. The gentleman that fishes out of Papua New Guinea, I think I heard a message that he passed away. Older gentleman, but he used to fish it every year. We actually have a map. It's sitting here in my office, not this office, my other office. Every year we break it out and we put all the little X's of where people fish.
That's awesome.
And for me, it gets most crazy. I'm not going to throw him under the bus, but there is one guy that loves to call me up at 3:00 in the morning. and Any fish on the deck, and I'm like, oh man, I could have used 2 more hours of sleep.
It's going to be a really long day.
Well, it's one of those things that once I try to get up. I know on every average days I get up around 5 anyway. So getting up at 4:30 is not a big deal. And once I get up, now if I have somebody that has a fish on the boat, I'm already putting. In the last 3 or 4 years, I started putting group chats together for everybody in every zone.
Nice.
So if they need to, you can just, hey, I'm hooked up. Put it in the group chat, and people can verify. So Madeira, I got 12 people. I put them all together. Cape Verde, I do the same thing. Hawaii, Bermuda, these guys, they're chatty all day long. We all just chat all day long.
Yeah.
Telling stupid stories. But it's a great way to communicate. I know last year I had somebody, and again, I don't want to throw anybody on the bus. Somebody talked some smack about me online as far as a fish coming to the scales. Because I'm official, I don't like announcing anything to the general public until it's official, till it gets to the weigh scale. But as far as the fishermen are concerned, I want them to know. They need to know. They've got a vested interest. Hey, somebody's got a fish that's 128 by 72 come to the scale. You need to know you're participating. The general public, I kind of wait until I get some more verification, get some pictures, get somebody at a weigh scale that lets me know.
Yeah.
If I give an official update, because I give them live on Facebook every 3 hours, I'll let somebody know that a fish is coming to the scale. But until I get verification, my word is my word. So I got to be careful what I say.
Yeah, of course you do. That's a lot on your shoulders.
And there's a lot of money. Yeah. So, and I know some guys get upset about it, and that's fine. If you want to be upset, be upset. You'll find out,
Yeah.
I'll let everybody know. And once something's official, then I put it out.
Yeah.
Once it's official, it goes out.
You've touched on a couple interesting things. So you've said the word releases. You've said to the scales. You've given some measurements, and you said they've got a lot invested. So how much does it cost to sign up for the World Cup?
World Cup base entry is $5,000. If you want to get into the extra optional category, which is the Big Blue Challenge, is another $8,000. So across the board is $13,000.
And there's only one winner.
The tournament, there's only one winner. But if you're in the extra jackpot, we don't play out second place. But there's been a couple of years where the biggest fish that wins the World Cup was not in the optional jackpot. So that'll go to another fish, whoever was in. But again, that's first place in that jackpot.
Right.
And we do that to keep killing a fish to a minimum.
Exactly. So
that's one of the big.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest reasons why I don't announce fish until it's official. Because listen, if I put out a number to the general public and people think there's a 500-pounder coming in, or let's say they think there's a 700-pounder coming in, and they release a fish that was 600, and suddenly they weigh that fish and that fish was 580. It clouded their judgment.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. But once it's official, once something is weighed and it's official, it's 800 pounds, then this is a new benchmark. They're in both categories. Don't kill something that's 500.
Yeah. So what's your minimum, and is it in weight? Is it in length? How do you measure that?
That's actually a great question. The Blue Marlin World Cup is a 500-pound minimum. There is no length measurement. It's just 500 pounds. So you can have a long skinny fish, or you can have a short fat one, kind of like me. And that's a qualifier. As long as it's a qualifier, 500 pounds is qualifying, man.
Still counts.
It still counts, exactly.
So what about, like, you can't just weigh these fish on any scale, obviously. Drake and I actually, when we went over to the Eastern Atlantic, we took a certified scale with us. And that is a hard thing to travel with. Literally every security will flag it, as this looks like exactly like a bomb. It's in like a yellow Pelican case.
You're not allowed to say that word when you're on a plane. You can't say that word. I won't even say it. Now, here's the craziest part. When you travel to Central American countries, do you know what the name of a pump is in Spanish?
Bomba. Bomba. Bomba.
Bomba. The same word as a bomb.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what
if
is
you're
that?
traveling
I'm like,
with
I'm
a
not
pump, I'm not telling you. Oh, that's
I'm not saying it.
How
What
have
is
I
that?
never pieced that?
Come on, seriously?
Do you know how
Yeah,
many
that's the
pumps
same
we've
word.
flown to Costa Rica?
Yeah, you better not say it in Spanish, man.
Man, that's hysterical. All right, so what about this? Like the weight, this like taking the weight process.
It has to be a certified scale, and certified by any governmental agency. So it could be IGFA. It could be the local government. What a lot of people don't understand is, no matter what country you're in, scales have to be certified. If you're selling fish, if you're selling meat, if you're selling vegetables, those are all governmental certified. So, even truck scales. So when you bringing trucks across, when you're shipping stuff, that's a governmental scale, and they have to get certified every year. So
it's pretty accessible.
There's a lot of ways. Yeah, it's not as hard as people think now.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
that's awesome. That's great information.
Why do you think I get to talk to all these marlin fishermen for 2 to 3 months every year? These are the kind of questions that they ask me. And anybody that's in remote locations, I require video verification. So when I say video verification, I want to see video of somebody fighting the fish, video of the fish being gaffed, videos of the fish being brought on the boat. You have to prove that the fish was caught on the 4th of July. What I tell everybody, it is not my responsibility to prove you caught that fish. It is your responsibility. Mm-hmm. When you're fishing in a location like Madeira or Cape Verde's a little bit different, but there's still a lot of people there. If you're fishing in Hawaii, you're fishing in Bermuda, there's a lot of people around watching you catch the fish. But I have people that fish in Cameroon, people that fish in Senegal. You're a single boat all by yourself. It's your job to prove that you caught that fish on that day. And what I tell everybody, if you're not the captain and if you're not the angler, you better have a camera in your hand. I don't care what it is. Yeah. And I want to see videos of GPSs. I want to see videos of the TV set. Show me the TV set. Show me, prove to me that you caught it on the 4th of July. Mm-hmm. It's your responsibility. I know I get a lot of boats. I say a lot. I usually get 1 or 2 a year that go out of, like, let's say New York or Massachusetts. There's a lot of big fish up out of there, especially where the Labrador currents meet the Gulf Stream. And, I'm trying to think. I don't know if, I got to look back up Massachusetts, but I know from New York, the state of New York, all the way to North Carolina, the state record is 1,000 pound in every single one of those states. And I think Massachusetts as well. So they've caught granders all the way up. Yeah. So there's a lot of big fish up and down the East Coast. People don't realize.
And then most of the fishing scene up there is just like tuna, tuna, tuna. We just want tuna.
Yeah, well, because you got a long way to go catch a marlin, man. You got to go a long way. And you got to get the right conditions. You got to get the right water. You got to get the weather right. It's not like fishing out of Bermuda where you're running 20 miles.
Yeah. Or Madeira where you're putting the lures out as you leave the marina.
Yeah. So, no, I get it. I totally get it. Listen, the Gulf of Mexico is the same thing. If you got bad weather, some of these guys are going 250 miles one way.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a long way to go.
So tell us about the Gulf Cup Blue Marlin Shootout. That was your first tournament, right?
That was my first one, and you're allowed to fish. Here's the thing. So Bermuda was able to build the Bermuda Blast off the World Cup. The Kona Cup and the Firecracker were built off of tapping into the World Cup. So I did the same thing with the Gulf Cup. I started it mainly just to tap into the Blue Marlin World Cup because I knew there was a lot of big fish in the Gulf of Mexico.
So tell our listener what you mean by tap in.
So the Blue Marlin World Cup last year's winner won $1.25 million.
That's crazy.
So you have this giant jackpot that's already there. So last year's World Cup winner, he was fishing the Firecracker as well, which is a tournament in Hawaii. So he took home 1.25 from the World Cup, but he also took home 700,000 from the Firecracker. So he took home $2 million for that fish. And for somebody, and I get a lot of tree huggers that yell at me saying I'm not conservation minded. But I do a lot of stuff to conserve our resource. This is a resource. And if a fish is going to die, if we're going to harvest a fish and take its life, I want to be able to stretch that as much as possible. And I hate to see a fish die for nothing. And the fact that a fish was able to provide $2 million to a crew is amazing. Okay, now I got to tell you a story about that crew.
Okay.
And because, again, this 2.5, 3 months that I get to talk to people, talk to marlin fishers, the same way we're having a conversation here, I get to do it all year long. And so I talked to the captain of that boat, the Apex. I shouldn't have mentioned his name just to keep the honest people honest, but this is a great story. So I called him up. It was like, I don't know, July 6th or 7th, just trying to get the paperwork started so they can get paid. And I'm like, so tell me about your fish. I want to know about the bite. I want to know about the fish. I want to know about the experience. I mean, I'm still a fisherman.
Tell me the full story.
So he's like, well, it's a unique story. He goes, one of my crew members, his wife died in September. Oof, and brutal. It was a big blow to him. So right before the World Cup, we shut the boat down. We shut the engines off and flat calm in Hawaii. And they had her ashes. And they sat at the... I don't want to get emotional because
I can't even.
Really a cool story. Yeah, I know.
Having a hard time handling it.
So, and I say it's emotional because we're fishermen. We're all in this together. And I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Dennis. I don't know if you know Dennis Friel, Connected by Water. We're all connected by water. And here's this group. They were sitting on the back of the boat. They sprinkled her ashes. They threw the flowers in. They're crying. And they're hugging each other. They're just having a moment as a crew. And then they said, hey, listen, lines are in 2 minutes. We got to get going. So, they hugged it all out. They gave each other their kisses and, okay, we got a job to do. Let's go fishing. So they fire the boat up and put the engines in gear and its lines in. So they're sliding all the lures out. And he tells me, he goes, Fly, he goes, I made the first turn. Put the boat in a turn, and there she was, right on the inside. Just piles in on it. And their eyes weren't even dry yet. That's what he said. Their eyes weren't even dry yet. So they start getting everything situated, and he calls me up. And I'll never forget, because Bermuda had just weighed a 714. I mean, just weighed a 714. I don't think it was 20 minutes into it. And I said, hey, man, just so you know, Bermuda just weighed a 714. He goes, yeah, I heard it. I'm like, okay, not a problem.
Okay.
So
714's a big fish.
It's a big fish, man. There's nothing small about a 714. It's a nice fish. Mm-hmm. It's a nice fish. And everybody in Bermuda really thought they were going to win it back. They hadn't won it in a few years. So he's like, yeah, I know. So I get a phone call from somebody, and I'm yapping on the phone, and he calls me back up, and I'm like, listen, I got to let you go. The boat that's hooked up, is calling me in. So I answered. He's like, she's in the boat, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay, what are the measurements? So the original measurements for the fish in Bermuda, I have it written down, but let me see if I can remember. It was 118 by 64, and the fish in Hawaii was 123 by 70.
Goodness.
And I'm like, holy shit, that's a
Holy
lot bigger.
crap.
And I'm like, man, good on you. I said, are you going to continue fishing, or are you going to go in and weigh her? He's like, no, we're going back in. We're going to weigh her first, and then we'll come back out fishing. I'm like, okay, good enough. So we had to wait, and I let everybody know, I let everybody know that was in the tournament that they were coming in.
Yeah.
And I let the boys in Bermuda know, and I let the boys in Hawaii know. And the boys in Hawaii already knew because they were on that group chat. And
this is the last fishery of it. Essentially, this is the last fishery
it's
of
the
day.
last time zone.
Yeah.
It's the last time zone. So by the time Bermuda is done, the morning for me is crazy because I have Cape Verde, I got Senegal, I got Azores, Canaries, Bermuda, Bahamas, all fishing at the same time. Mm-hmm. But once we get to Hawaii, everybody else is done. I'm just watching the 50 boats in Hawaii.
As is the rest of the world.
As is the rest of the world. And listen, I've been on both ends of it. I have sat in the bar in Bermuda waiting to hear what Hawaii's doing and getting all liquored up and waiting to see if Bermuda wins or if Bermuda loses. And I've also been in Hawaii when I was running the boat out in Hawaii when Stephanie Choate won her fish. She hooked that thing up with 30 minutes left in the day. And when she boated the fish, I remember vividly her fish was 131 inches.
Man,
and
wow.
She ended up winning that day. And so I've been on both ends of it. I know what it's like. I know what it feels like. I also know what it feels like at 11 o'clock at night. You're waiting for somebody to call in, whether they're releasing or killing a fish. And I've been awake for 32 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just me, Jim Hardy's family, and Cafe Bustelo keeping me.
Yeah.
But it's such an awesome feeling.
Yeah.
Because, man, there's nothing, and pride is one of the most deadly sins, and I know that. But I'm so proud of being part of this community. I love it. I really, really do. I love promoting everybody in my industry. I love promoting my industry. Listen, we have bad stuff that happens in the industry. Every industry does. I don't like talking about it. And it's not because I want to put my head in the sand. We know everybody's going to know about it. I don't want to talk about it. Listen, that's something bad happened to somebody. That it happens. Shit happens. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the great thing about our industry. Right. I love to talk about when my friends win, or even if it's somebody I don't know wins. I love talking about when somebody has a problem and another fisherman comes out and helps them. I love to hear stories about that. I love to tell people about how our industry, that there's no strangers in it.
Yeah.
You show up on the dock somewhere and, man, I fished on a boat in Japan. I was the only guy that spoke English. And we were out Blue Marlin fishing. I was fishing out of with some friends from Nagoya. And I said, well, I might as well go sit up in the tower because I can't really talk to anybody. I can at least call out Blue Marlin when they show up in the spread. So I'm up in the tower. I'm all excited. And here comes this 200-pound Blue Marlin. I know how to say Blue Marlin in Japanese, Kajiki. So I started to yell, Kajiki, Kajiki. But you know what? I realized at that point I did not know how to say left or right.
Yeah.
I didn't know which way to tell them to look. So they're all looking at me up in the tower, and I'm pointing. I'm like, man, I don't know if this is a good idea. If they're wasting 3 seconds
to
turn
look
their
up
head
at
me, yeah, it's defeating the purpose.
Yeah.
But it's funny. I go to Japan. Last year I fished the JIBT over there. One of my really good friends, he owns Muta Marine. It's a clothing company. They're the largest fishing and golfing clothing company over there. And he was so excited to introduce me to, the board members and all these people. And as we're walking around the captain's meeting, everybody's coming up to me, hey, Fly, what's going on? Hey, Fly. And he's like, how do you know so many people? I'm like, well, because it's Blue Marlin fishing. It's a small industry. Yeah. We all share the same passion. So It's not, and especially now with social media, everybody knows everybody's faces. It's not like, oh, you're one of the lucky few that gets printed in a magazine.
Oh, yeah.
No, you can put whatever you want online. Everybody knows you. And he's like, wow, you're famous. I'm like, no, Jennifer Lopez is famous. I'm just well known, man. Nobody is knocking me down for my fucking autograph. They want to come have a beer with me, or in my case, because I don't drink, have a green tea and hang out and tell a couple fishing stories. But yeah, it's a small world. So anywhere I go, anywhere any of us go, we all know each other. It's tiny. And most of the times, and we were talking about this off air because I showed you a picture of a boat. Most of the time, people don't even know I'm somewhere until I start posting pictures.
Yeah, we were fishing next to each other in Mags.
Exactly. Nobody knew until I started posting. The only person that knew I was there was Newt, Little Worm. Little Worm, I was live on Instagram because I have a friend of mine that works at the UN, and he knew I was in Mag Bay. And he's like, hey, man, when you hook a fish, can you go live on Instagram so I can see it? And I'll show it to everybody in the UN. I'm like, okay. So I go live on Instagram, and I'm showing us we're catching a doubleheader striped marlin. And Little Worm, he texts me. First, he tried to FaceTime me, and I shushed him. And then once I was done, he's like, I'm like, man, I'm sorry I shushed you. He goes, no, I wanted to go live with you. I'm like, well, you should have jumped on Instagram, not on Facebook.
That's not how you do it.
Not FaceTiming.
Newt?
He's like, I saw you go live. And he goes, I didn't even know you were up here. I'm like, yeah, I'm here. I'm here on the 8/8. So, but really, I did that just to share. I mean, how neat is it? First of all, I had people from Japan. I had people from Europe, Saudi Arabia. I had people from all over the world, but specifically I had this group watching from the UN. They're passing the phone around in the United Nations to watch us catch some striped marlin. And there's my chance to introduce fishing to somebody new.
Yeah.
I don't know who it was.
It was definitely somebody.
There was definitely somebody. That's why. And again, we had this conversation earlier. You never know who you're influencing.
Yeah.
You never know who's on the other end. So I try to make sure that their first experience in our world is the best experience possible.
Yeah.
To me, that means a lot. To me, that means,
I love that.
It means the world. I want them to say, man, I want to try that. I had a guy just the other day on Instagram. Him and his wife are going on their honeymoon in Cabo, and he just asked me, "Hey, I really want to go fishing, but I want to know who to go with, and somebody's trusted." I'm like, "Here, call this guy. I fished with him on the Great Barrier Reef. He came fishing with me, and him and his father own a charter business over there." And he's like, "Man, thank you so much. I appreciate looking at all your content, and that's why I do it. That's the reason I do it." Is for people like that. I get to think about it. I mean, you've worked on boats however long. You know how many people call me up and say their bucket list fish is a Dorado? You know how many people I get? I bet you I get between 50 and 100 people every year say their bucket list fish is a Dorado. How many times have you tried to reel away from a Dorado?
Oh God, I can't count. You kidding?
Think about that.
I just fished Baja 2023. I've reeled away from way too many for Dorado.
That was the worst. That's the worst. That was the worst Dorados I've ever seen in my life.
You know what? Chip Schaefer said that. If Chip Schaefer's saying it's the worst Dorados he's seen in his life, like, it was bad. That was some crazy fishing. But yeah, people want to catch they're fun to catch. They're beautiful fish.
Exactly.
They're super cool fish, and they're fun to catch. So, I mean, that can make a lot of people happy and make a lot of crews super successful, which is win-win.
It could also make a lot of crews super annoyed.
Yes.
Yes. But it really goes to show you perspective. Mm-hmm. As many times we're like, oh my God, a Dorado, really? A Dorado? And how many people in a year's time? Like I said, I get between 50 to 100 people a year.
That's a lot.
That's my bucket list fish. Yeah.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And to us, it's like, after you catch the one for mahi tacos, you're done. I don't want to see another one. You're eating up my baits, man. you're eating into my fishing time.
I get it, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's again, it's just depending on how you look at it, but there's so many people out there, and that's what there's a guy. I haven't met him. He doesn't have a name, but there's a man in Iowa that every time I take a picture, I think of him. That's what I do. I think of this guy in Iowa that's never been to the ocean. Has never seen the ocean. Has never seen a marlin. Never seen a dorado. Never seen a bonita. And when I take a picture, I'm trying to think, how is he going to look at this picture? And that's how I think.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like that. I'm going to apply that to my life a little bit. See what happens if I do.
Philosophy by Fly.
Yeah,
Right.
there we go. It's a book, folks. It's a book. We're actually here to promote that book. No. So
No.
I don't think you actually finished your story about the Apex.
The Apex?
Wasn't that the name of the boat? I thought you said so.
Oh, no, I did. They called no.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody cried, and then they called the winning fish on that first turn.
Yeah. Okay.
On that first turn, it was amazing.
That's
and
a beautiful
the first thing
story.
I did, the very first thing I did was I called Jim Hardy's daughter. And again, I'm trying to protect their name, because they're very private people.
Yeah, of course.
But the first thing I did was I called her up, and I'm like, I need to tell you this story. You need to know what your dad did.
Yeah.
Even though it's been a lot of years since your dad passed away, this is because of your father. He provided these people the opportunity to celebrate somebody's life, and then go out and
continue to celebrate that life.
Continue to celebrate it because of what they were able to accomplish on this day. So it's neat. And our industry, our fishing is filled with stories like this.
Yeah.
Filled with stories like this. It's not always in a tournament. Sometimes it's your first day of fishing after your dad passed away or your mom passed away. Or, it was my grandfather that took me fishing these times, and you remember these things and you're able to share it with other people. And that's what people don't understand. I know I got quoted when I wrote my book in 2020. My biggest quote I put in there, because I use it, I live by it every day, because people are like, oh, fishing is so boring. I go, listen, what you're confusing is catching and fishing. Catching is reeling in the fish. Fishing is what you do with your friends and family in between bites. Yeah. And like this right here, what we're doing is, for me, falls under fishing, because we're still fishing. We're talking about the sport. It's bringing two people together to share a couple of stories with maybe 1,000 people, 10,000 people, 1,000,000 people. We don't know. But this is fishing. We're telling the stories, and this is all I do. I had a meeting the other day with some people, and we were talking. We're doing some business together. And he's like, Fly, I've never been fishing. Do you think you can, help me with that? I'm like, I'll tell you what, let's get what we're trying to do settled, and I'll take you fishing, and we'll sit down and we'll talk. And they're like, really? I said, honestly, most of the time I go fishing first before I decide to do business with somebody. I want to see what it's like in 8 hours, spending some time with somebody, talking, to decide whether I want to do something with you.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of stuff I do, and then I just didn't have fun. Then I won't do it again. But if I do something with somebody, some kind of business, and I enjoy it, let's do it again. I had a good time with you. Let's do it again. And if I didn't have a good time, no harm, no foul. We move on. We do something else. You go do your thing. I do my thing. My whole thing is I want to have a good time doing it. And I want to make sure everybody's having a good time doing it. And if people aren't having a good time, why do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't have a long time on this world. If we're lucky, we get 80 years. That ain't, our solar system is something, what is it, like 30 billion years old?
Crazy.
We're here, if we're lucky, for 80 years. So I better make the best of it. Yeah. I want to make the best of it. I'm going to do it every day, and if I'm not having a good time, fuck it, I ain't going to do it again.
So what do you think it is, like, for you, that takes you back to the ocean and to fishing every day?
People. 100%. I love my time I spent on the reel tight. I made a bond with those guys. I was on that boat for 14 years. I made a bond with those guys. I love them. To this day, I love him. Jim Lambert, he was my mentor, still is my mentor. I just quoted him this morning. I'm not going to repeat the quote because this is a family-friendly show.
Okay.
But I think about him every day. And then now what takes me back every day is the fact that I can share it with people. One of my favorite story, or it's not an in particular story. You're going to relate to this, and next time you see it, I want you to think of me. When I get somebody on the boat and we got their first sailfish or first marlin or first fish on, and I look at their hands that's holding the rod and their knuckles are all white. You know what I'm talking about? They're holding that handle so hard, that rod so hard, their fingers are turning white. And I'm like, the rod's not leaving. Release the grip and look out at the fish jumping. And they're like, what? I go, breathe and look out at your fish jump. Listen, we just spent an hour to get this bite, or 5 minutes if you're in Mag Bay. We just spent all this time to get you this bite. I go, release the death grip on the rod.
Relax.
Take a deep breath and look out and enjoy your fish. Listen, the fish is jumping and the boat's in a turn. You're not going to get any line. So enjoy the moment. Enjoy the moment. Look at the fish. Look at it jump, and I'll take pictures of it and I'll video it depending on what I got going on. But take a deep breath. Enjoy the moment. Here we are. What are you thinking of? Did you enjoy dinner last night? What? And I love asking people what they had for dinner or what their favorite baseball team is, because usually if you take their brain just far enough away from, oh my God, I don't want to lose this fish, as opposed to, hey, we're going to catch this fish. Change your mindset and enjoy the moment.
Enjoy the moment.
And I can see it. It's the white knuckles. It's the white knuckles. If you see the white knuckles, you're holding on too tight. Or the best yet is when I see people with blisters on the other hand, and I'm like, oh, I know what the problem is. They're like, really? I go, yeah, your left hand is too tight on the rod. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah, if you have a blister on this hand, it's because you're pressing too hard to push it against the other hand. Relax. Enjoy the moment.
Enjoy the moment.
That's all. It's little things like that. And it's one of the things after, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to say it. After 32 years of being on the water, it's little things like that I watch, and I look at people and I'm like, hey, enjoy this moment. And that's what I enjoy so much about being on the water. And what brings me back is I'm at the point in my life and in my career that I enjoy more sharing it with people than catching.
Yeah.
Listen, I've competed enough times, and don't get me wrong, I still compete. When I'm out there fishing, not just entertaining people, I want to kick everybody's ass. Don't get me wrong. My job is to kick everybody's ass. As a fisherman, that's our job.
Yeah, we're competitive as all get out.
Oh
I want you to do well, but I'm going to do better.
You know what? That's the way I always tell everybody. I never want you to catch less fish than me. I just want to catch more than you. That's the way I tell everybody. I'm not wishing you to lose your fish. I'm not wishing you to catch less than me. I'm just wishing for me to catch. And I'm not even wishing. I am working to make sure I catch more than you.
No. If you have all the information and all the possibilities that I have, and you go out and catch more fish than me, hats off.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good on you. And I'm not going to be mad.
No.
I used to get mad. I don't get mad anymore. I say I get mad. I don't get mad. I just get, you know what? Let's leave 10 minutes earlier tomorrow. Let's leave a half hour earlier tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to give more effort. And the only way to give more effort is more time. So those are the things. But now it's to the point I'd rather bring somebody that's never caught a fish. I remember a couple of years ago, I got a call from somebody. Hey, will you fish the White Marlin Open with me? I'm like, sorry, dude. I'm going to Costa Rica. I'm going to go do a FAD trip. And they're like, what? And they're like, don't you want to fish for dollars? I'm like, listen, I'm going fishing with two Cuban brothers. One's a cardiologist. They've never seen a blue marlin. All they want to do is catch a blue marlin.
Oh, what a beautiful experience.
I'd rather go out with somebody who's never caught a blue marlin and give them the opportunity. And we did. We caught 19 blue marlins. And these guys spoke no English, were so fucking happy. They were so happy. And I loved it. I don't care about the money. I really don't. I love sharing my sport, our sport, with somebody else.
Man, I tell you,
That's what I do.
Some of the best relationships I've developed have been from exposing people on the boat to what it is to catch a fish like that, and that experience as a whole. Like it's unrivaled, and it brings you so much joy to watch somebody come into your sport and just fall head over heels in love with the moment. And I love that you said that. I can't disagree. I can't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, that's what I love. When I see somebody that I took on I coached them and took them on their first few Blue Marlin trips, and next thing you know, they buy a 40-foot something or a 50-foot something. That means the world to me.
Man, I had a lady.
That means the world to me.
I love that you said that because this is just so special. I had a lady that fished with us in Mags this last at Baja this last season, and she was like, "Look, I need you to teach me how to hook the fish." And I'm like, "All right, no problem. Let's do this." We worked for 3 days. She did super well. She killed it. And then the following week, she was fishing in Guatemala in a tournament. And at the end of the week, she sent me a photo of her top angler trophy. And I was like, girl,
that's awesome.
I just like couldn't be prouder of that. And
that to me is so awesome.
Yes, you get it.
Yeah.
I love that.
I totally get it. And more so that it's a woman. So all my tournaments, I don't give angler trophies away in any of my tournaments, but I do give top female and top junior angler.
That's cool.
And my reasoning behind that is, number one, we need to encourage the next generation, number one. And I'm a firm believer, if you get moms fishing, the entire family goes fishing. The entire family goes fishing. When you get moms fishing, dads, oh, okay, I'll bring the kids. Or I want to hang out with the boys this weekend. Not moms. Moms always want the family.
Yeah.
Always want the family to go fishing. So that's why I'm a big proponent of it. I go out of my way to make sure I encourage female anglers. It's a huge thing for me because if moms don't get the kids out fishing, it just
That's the future
dads
of
get kids out fishing, but not like moms.
Yeah, I like moms too.
Exactly, and I want to see the sport grow, not one at a time. I want to see it grow exponentially. I want to see 1, 2, 4, 8, 6, 16, 32, 64. I want to see a lot, and I want to see it fast.
There you go.
That's what I want to see. That's a big deal to me.
Well, come on, Fly. You're doing such a fabulous job of that. Like, what you've done for our industry already is incredible.
I haven't done enough.
Every day's a new day.
And I appreciate you saying that, but every day I feel like I don't do enough. Like right now, I don't even think we even talked about me. I just got back from Saudi, and I'm helping introduce recreational fishing to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I don't think nothing of it. To me, it's
NBD, no big deal.
Yeah, to me, I'm just going, hanging out with my friends. We're talking about fishing, and we're going to put together a fishing club, and the first ever in the kingdom. We put on the first ever international fishing tournament. Dude, all this stuff. And to me, it's just what I like to do. And my girlfriend's like, do you really realize what you're talking about? What you're doing?
Changing the world.
I'm just talking about fishing, man. That's what but that's the way I look at it. But I want to let everybody know what we do, what it's like. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, what color your hair is. Let's just go fishing.
Yes.
That's my thing. I want everybody to have the same opportunities that I've had. Whether you decide to take those opportunities, that's not up to me. But if you want to take that opportunity, I want to make it easier for you. I did it. And if I can help you, so be it. I'll help you. And if it takes bringing 1,000 boats into a country, we'll do it. If it takes putting on classes every weekend, we'll do it. If it means whatever it takes, we'll do it. And I want to see people enjoy our sport, whether it's catching marlin or catching grouper or catching permit and bonefish. I don't care what it is. Go out there. You know, I have a friend, and you may not know him, but he's a boat broker. I knew him when he was born. Again, I used to work for his grandmother, and he's a boat broker now. And one day he's like, "You're so funny. I saw you on social media, and one day you're catching 800-pound bluefins, and the next week you're catching cutthroat trout, and you were just as happy." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fishing. I don't care. I just want to go fishing." And some people have the opportunity to catch trout, and some people have the opportunity to catch marlin or dorados.
Doesn't make a lick of difference. Any fish, any water. I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
Just being
I even
out there
go
connecting
with my
with
buddy.
it.
He's a commercial lobster fisherman. I love going commercial lobster fishing with him. You know, why? Because I just like being on the water with my friends.
So
that's my thing.
I mean, I think I get that. I find it absolutely awesome. That's the whole reason why we're all out here, right? We can't you can't keep us away from it. But
exactly.
We're gonna have to. It's close to time, so I'm gonna have to start wrapping up. But I really want to ask you a question. I like to take a moment.
Only one.
Just this one fly. Okay. I like to take a moment and kind of focus on our younger listeners, anyone that might be listening that's in their younger years, that's super fired up on what you've said this podcast.
Time out 1 second. You do know that 45 is younger than me, right?
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Younger viewers.
Our younger people that are listening in.
Okay.
That are fired up on this conversation, that are like, man, I love fishing, or I want to get into fishing, or I want to be out on the water, or I want to be part of these tournaments. What is a recommendation you have for them? Do you have anything that you can give to these younger listeners to encourage them on their next steps?
Oh my gosh, that's such a broad question, but I'm going to steal a line from somebody. It's a very broad step because it depends on where you live. If you live in Missouri, it's one thing. If you live in the state of New York, it's another. If you live in Guatemala, yes, it's another.
It's another one, yeah. But you're it's so hard to zero you in that I had to keep it broad.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's really not that hard. Yes, it's broad, but I can give you 3 words. Just do it. Just like Nike said, just do it. Whatever it is that you see the opportunity, I see so many people stop themselves because they're afraid. I don't want to do it because I might mess up. I don't want to do it because just do it. Really, seriously. I have a friend. I sat at his booth at a boat show, and I was there for an hour, maybe. We were shooting shit. I hadn't seen him in a while, so I sat with him for about an hour. And in that hour, I had 3 different people come up to me and say, "Hey, you're that guy on Facebook. I want you to come fishing with me. Will you come visit me and come fishing?" And I answered their question. Everyone got the same exact, what's the airport code and what time of year is best? And they all gave me their airport code. They all gave me the best time of year. And then I exchanged phone numbers. And my buddy's like, "Really?" I'm like, "You think I'm going to turn down the chance to go fishing?" And he's like, "You'll go with all of them." I go, "Absolutely. Absolutely." And I just did it. I don't wait. If they give me their number, I'm like, "Listen, I'm going to put you down for these days. What's a good time for you? I'll buy the tickets right now." And I don't wait. Do not offer me the opportunity to go fishing that you're not going to hold up your end of the bargain. I'll come visit you. And we'll hang out. And let's go fishing. I don't care what it is. I really don't. I might not pick up a rod. I just had dinner with a guy the other day at the Billfish Foundation dinner. I'm supposed to go fish a tournament with him in Monaco, and then he has another boat that's down in Abidjan, and he's like, he's been trying to get me to go to Abidjan since 2020, and I'm like, let's do it. Let's just, we'll book the tickets and let's go down. I don't care. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Because so many people.
Now that you can.
Have you ever heard of the term paralysis by analysis?
No, but it does make a lot of sense. It's called overthinking.
People will sit there and they're like, they'll think, "Oh my God, how much money do I need? How much this?" Just do it. Just buy the ticket and give yourself whatever, 6 months to pay it off or 12 months to make the money, and make the plan and find an Airbnb and seriously just do it, because most of the time people sit there for weeks and months thinking about, really, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do, and they never do it. Next thing you know, they're on their deathbed saying, man, I wish I would have. And my biggest fear in life, and there's not much I fear, but my biggest fear in life is getting to my deathbed as an old man, older, and saying, damn, I wish I would have tried this. And I don't want that. I really don't. And I want to say, man, I did go and fish this cool spot and didn't catch anything, or caught the biggest fish of my life, or met this really cool kid on the dock that showed me how to, whatever. But you'll never know until you go do it. And when you travel and you get to see how other people live, then you come back home and you appreciate what you have. When you're sitting there saying, damn, I got last year's sneakers on. You know how many people would be happy to have last year's sneakers on? You know? And it's little things like that. Man, you know how much I appreciate going to Publix?
Oh.
It's a huge thing.
Publix
how
is
much
cool.
I appreciate going to Home Depot or Amazon. You don't know this until you don't have it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
All of that in one stop.
Exactly. So that's what I would tell any young kid. Just do it. Figure out. If you want to go buy a rod, I still own the first fishing rod I bought. I still own it. Now, I had plenty of fishing rods that my parents gave me, but my first job I had at 14 years old, I saved my first 3 paychecks and I bought my first fishing rod. I still have that to this day. Yeah, and I appreciate it. But that's what I wanted. I just did it. And I caught my first keeper snook on it. I caught my first sailfish on it. I use this rod for everything. This rod's been with me forever. But I just did it. And that's where a lot of people make the mistake, is they wait for somebody or something. Don't wait for anything. Just do it. Figure out a way. Just do it. Like us in this podcast today. How much technical difficulty did we have?
We had some technical difficulties. I think...
And it was all on my end. It was all on my end.
I was really happy you worked through it.
Yeah, but we got it done. We never gave up.
No.
And that's where a lot of people, as soon as they feel a little pushback, it's like, oh, let's go do something that's easier. And no. You want to go catch a Dorado? That's on your bucket list? Then go do it.
Go do it.
Reach out to
They're out there.
Reach out to somebody on social media and say, hey, who should I go fishing with? This is where I live.
Send us a DM, both Fly and I.
Yeah.
Go on, slide on in there.
Do it. Yeah, slide on that. That's a whole nother discussion that I have plenty of friends. I'm like, hey man, I sent you a DM. You know how many people try to slide in my DM? I'm like, okay, that's a whole nother story. You know, that's a whole nother story. And listen, I can respect that. I don't hold it back. You didn't get back to me on a DM. I get it. But no, go ask questions, figure it out. What's it going to cost? Budget it. You know,
what's it going to take? Do it.
Yeah. What's it going to take? Figure it all out. But that's what I would tell any young person. And it doesn't have to be about fishing. It could be whatever it is you want to do. You know,
that's a great answer.
You want to be a firefighter? Be a firefighter. And don't let somebody tell you can't do it.
That's where we use that as motivation. I love being told I can't do something.
I got twice in my life I was told I couldn't do something. And I've been told a lot of times, but 2 times in particular. One of them, I proved that motherfucker wrong. Every single day and twice on Sundays. And the other one, I'm working my ass off to make sure they know I proved them fucking wrong again.
There you go.
And I'm very adamant about that. Don't let anybody tell you can't do something. You just go fucking do it. If you want to do it, you can do it.
Yeah.
And that's where I draw the line on anything. Hey, I really want to do it, then do it.
Yeah.
Don't just say it. Go do it.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very, very adamant about that. And On more than one occasion, I've jumped off a building and I've built the airplane on the way down. And it's a funny joke, but sometimes because
I feel like that's what our industry is.
it kind of is, but a lot of people try to go the easy route, and there's nothing wrong with it. But me, I don't like that. I want to jump off the cliff and then build the parachute. I'll figure it out on the way down, because now you have a sense of urgency. It's no longer a side project. It's the main project, because if not, you're going to land on your face. So jump and then build it on the way down. You're going to get skinned up. You're going to get beat up. You're going to get bruised up. It's okay. If you want it bad enough, that parachute will open. You'll build it and that parachute will open. You just got to believe in yourself.
That's so cool. That's a beautiful saying, Fly. I think you nailed it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate having you on board, and good luck with the World Cup. And that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this episode, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If you're fishing the World Cup next week, good luck. Stay safe. Don't stop chasing your wild, and we'll be seeing you out there.